You have been lied to about the most powerful tool you possess. You have been taught that words are for communication, for expression, for sharing ideas. This is a half-truth, a pacifying story to keep you from your rightful power. The full, unvarnished truth is this: your words are not passive descriptions of your reality. They are active, creative commands. Every sentence you speak is a decree issued to the deepest parts of your own mind and to the very fabric of the universe. You are not merely talking. You are building or destroying your world with every syllable. Most men live as beggars in a palace of their own making, whispering words of lack and limitation, then wondering why the doors of abundance remain locked. They speak of struggle and receive more struggle. They confess fear and are answered with more fear. This is not a coincidence. It is the most exact law you will ever encounter. Your voice was never meant to be a follower of your circumstances. It was designed to be their commander. The universe is not listening to your wishes. It is obeying your commands. The question is, what have you been ordering? You are about to unlock the spiritual mechanics that turn simple speech into unbreakable law. This is not a theory for the faint of heart or the casually curious. This is the operating principle behind every enduring empire, every fortune that lasted generations, every legacy that echoes through time. Men like Solomon did not merely rule with armies and gold. They ruled with words that carried the weight of divine order. Andrew Carnegie did not build his steel empire with brute force alone. He built it with a mastermind alliance, a council where words were sharpened into strategic commands. I have studied the lives of these titans, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, they all understood this one secret. They knew that to speak with definiteness was to summon reality itself. I am not here to inspire you with fleeting motivation. I am here to instruct you in a law as real as gravity. In the next few minutes, I will hand you the very blueprint they used. You will learn how to structure your speech so that it becomes a magnet for wealth. You will learn the rhythm of language that commands peace in the midst of chaos. You will discover how to infuse your words with such conviction that your subconscious mind, your silent, obedient partner, has no choice but to go to work, day and night, bringing your commands into physical form. This is the promise. By the end of this, you will no longer see your voice as a simple instrument of conversation. You will see it as the architect of your destiny. You will learn to speak not from a place of hope, but from a place of authority. You will stop begging the universe for scraps and start commanding it to deliver the fortune that is already yours. The path to dominion over your life begins not with a grand action, but with a single, deliberate word. Let me show you that this is not some ancient, dusty philosophy. This is a living, breathing law, as relevant today as it was in Solomon's court. I knew a man, broken by the world's standards. His business had collapsed, his credit was a ruin, and the whispers of those he called friends had turned to silence. He sat in a room with nothing but the echo of his own failure. But he had one thing left, a truth he had read but never fully lived. The truth that his words were seeds. In that moment of absolute rock bottom, he made a decision that would redefine his entire life. He decided to stop speaking the language of his circumstances and to start commanding the reality he demanded. He did not have a new plan. He did not have a new investor. All he had was his voice and a defiant decision. He began to speak aloud, not with hope, but with authority. He declared the end of his poverty. He named the exact sum that would be in his account. He described the resurrection of his enterprise with such vivid detail that he could feel the polished wood of his new desk. He did this every morning upon waking, and every night before sleep. At first, his own voice sounded like a lie. The old, fearful self fought back with every doubt you can imagine. But he persisted. He spoke through the resistance. He commanded his inner world until it had no choice but to obey. And then, something shifted. A forgotten contact reached out. An opportunity emerged from a seemingly dead end. The world began to rearrange itself to match the commands he had been issuing. Within 2 years, he had not only recovered, he had multiplied his former wealth tenfold. His circumstances did not change him. He commanded his circumstances to change. This is the power I am placing in your hands. Consider the story of Charles M. Schwab, a man who did not merely speak, but whose words forged an empire of steel. He did not arrive at the feet of Andrew Carnegie with a fortune or a famous name. He arrived with something far more powerful, a vision articulated with such absolute conviction that it became irresistible. When Schwab spoke of his idea for the consolidation of the steel industry, he was not presenting a proposal, he was issuing a decree. He did not ask for permission, he spoke with the authority of a man who already saw the future as fact. His words were not filled with hesitant phrases like "I think," or "perhaps." They were definitive, clear, and charged with an unshakable belief that bypassed logic and spoke directly to the subconscious faith of a titan like Carnegie. It is said that Carnegie, a man surrounded by the finest minds and most cunning strategists, heard in Schwab's voice a quality more valuable than any blueprint, the sound of certainty. That single conversation, that act of powerful speech, led to the formation of the United States Steel Corporation, a $600 million empire, the largest the world had ever seen. Schwab's words did not describe a possibility. They commanded a reality into existence. He understood the law you are now learning. The universe does not respond to need. It responds to belief. And belief, when spoken aloud with clarity and emotion, becomes a physical force. It draws the people, the resources, and the opportunities necessary to fulfill its own prophecy. Schwab did not chase power. He spoke it into being. His voice was the architect, and the world of industry became the structure. Now, let us move from the throne rooms of industry to the laboratory of your own mind, to the science that proves this principle is not mystical but mechanical. Your subconscious mind is the most obedient servant you will ever know. It does not sleep, it does not argue, it does not question your authority. Its sole function is to accept the dominant thoughts and commands you repeat, especially those charged with emotion, and to translate them into your physical reality. This is not a metaphor. This is the operational software of your being. When you constantly say, "I can't afford that," you are not making an observation. You are issuing a command. Your subconscious accepts this as literal instruction and works tirelessly to ensure your experience matches it, closing doors to financial opportunity, stifling creative ideas for generating income, and reinforcing a mindset of scarcity. Conversely, when you declare with feeling, "Money flows to me easily and in abundance," you are planting a new seed. At first, your conscious mind, your ego, will rebel. It will point to your bank statement and laugh. This is the critical moment. This is where most fail. They retreat. They let the old evidence silence the new command. But the man who understands the law presses on. He repeats the new command morning and night. He reads his written statement of purpose aloud. He feels the emotion of already having the wealth. He speaks it until his voice no longer shakes. This repetition, this emotional charging, is the water and sunlight for the seed. It impresses the new blueprint upon the subconscious, and once the subconscious accepts a command as truth, it moves heaven and earth to make it so. It will bring you the book you need to read, connect you with the person you need to meet, and deliver the idea that unlocks your fortune. Henry Ford understood this when he said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." He wasn't being poetic. He was stating a biological and spiritual fact. Your words are the programming language for this powerful inner computer. Most people are running programs of lack written by their past, by society, by fear. You have the power to rewrite the code. Your spoken word is the keyboard. Every sentence is a line of new code. Choose your commands wisely, for your subconscious is always listening, and it always obeys. Let me ask you to recall a moment you've likely buried. A time when you spoke carelessly, perhaps in frustration or fear, and saw your words manifest with terrifying speed. Maybe you said, "I always get sick when I'm stressed," and days later you were in bed with a fever. Perhaps you muttered, "This always happens to me," about a financial setback, and suddenly another bill arrived, another client vanished. Or maybe it was a relationship where you confessed, "I just know they're going to leave," and you watched helplessly as your own prophecy fulfilled itself. Remember the chill that went down your spine, That was not a coincidence. That was a glimpse of law in its raw, unfiltered power. You felt the creative force of your own voice turning against you. That pain you felt, that sense of powerlessness, is the very evidence you need to prove this principle is real. You have already been using this power your whole life, but you have been using it against yourself. You have been an architect building your own prison. One whispered doubt, one spoken complaint, one fearful declaration at a time. The pain of that memory is not meant to shame you. It is meant to awaken you. It is the universe's way of showing you the weapon you have been carelessly wielding. That pain is the proof that your words are not empty. They are alive. They are creative. And if they can create a reality of limitation and loss, then they can, with the same exact law, create a reality of abundance and dominion. The same power that wounded you is the power that will heal you, that will build your empire, that will command your fortune. The choice is no longer whether you will use this power, but for what purpose. Will you continue to speak curses over your future, or will you from this moment forward speak only blessings? I can hear the skeptic in your mind rising up. It whispers, but I've tried this. I've said positive things before and nothing happened. This is the most common retreat for the uncommitted, and I will dismantle it now. The failure was not in the law. It was in your application. You likely spoke empty words, devoid of the three forces that give a command its power: definiteness, emotion, and repetition. You muttered, "I want to be rich," while staring at an empty bank account, feeling only anxiety. That is not a command. That is a desperate wish. And the subconscious receives the dominant emotion. Fear not the words. Or you repeated an affirmation for 3 days and quit when the world didn't vow. You did not speak with the unwavering authority of a king issuing a decree from his throne. You spoke like a beggar hoping a passerby might hear. The law is exact. It does not respond to vague hopes or fleeting feelings. It responds to conviction so deep it rewires your nervous system. It responds to a vision so clear you can taste its reality. When Solomon asked for wisdom, he did not mumble a polite request. He asked with a heart aligned to divine law, and his prayer was so definite, so purposeful, that heaven itself answered with wealth and power he never requested. Your past attempts failed because you were testing the water with a single toe. You never committed to the swim. You never burned the bridges behind you and declared, "This is my truth, and I will speak it until my reality has no choice but to conform." The law is not broken. Your faith in the law was. This is the great lie you were told, now fully exposed. You were taught that your voice was merely for conversation, a simple tool for getting by. This was a deception to keep you from your throne. Your words are not passive. They are the most active creative force you possess. They are the commands to which your mind and the universe must respond. The man who speaks of poverty receives it. The man who commands wealth attracts it. This is not a matter of chance, but of law. The power you believed was reserved for kings and prophets has been in your possession all along, dormant on your tongue. The lie was that this power was complex or mystical. The truth is that it is simple, exact, and waiting for your conscious command. You were not created to be a spectator of your own life, reacting to circumstances with words of fear. You were born to be its commander, speaking your future into existence with words of absolute authority. The lie ends now. Your command begins. Let this truth settle into the very core of your being. Your tongue is the rudder of your life. It does not simply describe the direction you are going. It sets the direction. Every word you speak is a creative act, a decree that shapes your inner world and commands your outer reality. This is the ultimate takeaway, the one law that governs all others in the realm of personal achievement. Solomon's wisdom, Carnegie's empire, Schwab's ascent, they were all built upon this foundational principle. They understood that ungoverned speech leads to a chaotic life, while disciplined speech builds a kingdom. You must now become the absolute ruler of your own verbal domain. This is not about positive thinking. It is about precise commanding. It is the difference between saying, "I hope things get better," and declaring, "I command order and abundance to manifest in my finances now." The first is a wish sent into the void. The second is a directive issued to the creative forces of the universe. From this moment forward, you must guard your speech with the vigilance of a king guarding his throne room. Let no word of lack, no syllable of doubt, no phrase of fear pass your lips, for what you speak, you invite. What you command, you create. Your voice was given to you not to complain about the world you see, but to construct the world you desire. Master this, and you master everything. The theory is now complete. The law is clear. But knowledge without application is poverty in disguise. Therefore, I issue you a challenge, the law of the tongue ritual. For the next 7 days, you will engage in a verbal fast. You will not simply avoid negative talk. You will actively command your future. Here is your exact instruction. Each morning, before you speak to any other person, you will stand, look into your own eyes in a mirror, and speak your definite chief aim aloud. Name the exact amount of money you command. Describe the peace you demand. Declare the man you are becoming. Speak it with emotion. Speak it with authority. Then, throughout your day, you will guard your tongue like a sacred vow. If a complaint begins to form, you will silence it and replace it with a command of gratitude or purpose. If a doubt whispers, you will answer it with a declaration of faith. For 7 days, you will live as if every word is a brick you are laying for your eternal palace. At the end of this week, your mind will have shifted. Your reality will have begun its turn. Do not wait. Begin tomorrow at sunrise. Your empire is waiting to be spoken into existence.